Basically, everything in this game, outside the Xin Zhao, right, and the Thresh, like the Zoe, the Aphelios, and Tristana, can be an extreme carry for Afrika. There's so much power across several parts of the map. So if one part goes wrong, the rest, you might have, two others that can go right.
Yeah, this is extremely squishy, though, for Afrika. Like, they cannot stand around and get hit by poke, because then you have a Realm Warp on top of you, you got a bear running at you with an Inspire Shield and all that extra movement speed. If T1 get an advantage, then Afrika just explode. I don't know what the options are for them in that scenario. However, if they can get themselves into a position where they can set up around some poke around the Zoe, and Dread can be big, then maybe, just maybe, this weird top Tristana style composition is going to work out.
Yeah, I really want to see how the matchup goes into Kana, because I think it's going to be very difficult for Kana. But when you have a matchup that can be, very much push heavy for the Tristana, it means that Owner has got a lot of agency in the top side of the map to actually use this Volibear pick to start getting Kana potentially fed, getting a lot of items online himself. The same to be true of Faker into the Zoe, right? Like, he's going to be very happy to have Owner getting his back, right? Making sure that the early game goes their way. And that's why the Volibear pick, at the end of the day, even though it is kind of an AP pick versus the Graves, I really do like in this case, because you have now so much lockdown and so much control of the early game. And that's the one weak link that T1 had, I think.
Yeah. And also it's transferring these sorts of leads into later game and stuff like that T1 have also struggled with, but that means that Afrika might have a bit more of a chance if they can get themselves some tempo early and don't just, throw things away on a Drake fight that they definitely should not be taking.
Yeah, exactly. Fly on Zoe. It's definitely one that he's played quite a lot over the years.
Yeah, it's a bit of a throwback to one of Fly's old favorites. He's had some good performances and some not so good performances on this champion, but some of his best moments have certainly been on the Zoe.
It's going to be a tough one, because he has, like you said, that's a really squishy comp. The only frontline they realistically have is the Xin Zhao. So for him to find success, he's going to have to hit every single paddle star leading up into a fight that he can, so that those health bars get low enough to where Afrika can use these 3 carries they have to actually finish off those targets. Because if he misses any of them, there's just no longevity in this comp. Volibear goes in, and then Faker goes in, Kana goes in, and you're like, uh-oh, I guess we're dead.
Yeah.
If these champions get on top of Afrika's comp, there's just no health bars.
And Lehens needs like 7 different lanterns in order to save people. As we've seen as well, bit of a change up here for Gumayushi. He's taken the Comet on the Varus, an old favorite as far as Varus runes are concerned. But this time, just going to be adding to all of the poke and shove for this this bottom duo in the Karma Varus. I actually kind of like it.
Yeah, it's pretty insane what it can accomplish. As you can see already, these forces at work here. And this just means that Leo and Lehens are going to have to farm under turret for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, this was basically to be expected. We'll see whether any effort is put in on Afrika's part to try and stop this from being awful, because it will be.
It's going to be nasty. And this is where Dread can kind of try to step in. He's going to have to put his resources to the bottom side of the map, whereas Owner is very likely either going to match that or is going to be looking to save Kana here on the top side against this really annoying Tristana that he's going to have to deal with.
Yep. See how this one's going to go as we have a check-in of the Zoe Rise matchup. Pretty even, as you can see.
Only 16 games, kind of surprising.
Yeah.
But I guess when Zoe was, starting to become a little bit more popular, Rise was falling out a little bit at that
point. They haven't spent a lot of time in the same meta together.
Yeah. It's like now that Rise is popular again, Zoe is not.
Yep.
One of the rarer mid-picks here in the LCK.
At this point in time, indeed. Kind of cool to see Fly bringing it back, delving into his pretty extensive champion pool.
And here we go, Dreads going topside.
Yeah, we're looking to try and take down counter that Narbar extraordinarily low. As there's the dive on in. And, okay, Keen just going to grab it, gets out of the way of the turret, doesn't use the rocket jump for damage, and that means that he doesn't die. As
Very
that
well
last
played.
minion does fall down, and yeah, beautifully dove by Afrika.
I'm a little bit surprised to see Owner just really not in the area at all when you consider how aggressively Keen was pushing and trying to trade and poke Kana down. And, that's where you can really shut this down with a volley barrel. He's extremely strong in these moments, especially under turret. at this stage. So he's coming up now, but he's missed his window, unfortunately.
And you can see Lehen's having an awful time here on the bottom side of the map. Going to be shoved out. Leo thinking about going for a back timing as well, but going to decide that the experience and potential money is going to be enough. A 20 CS gap is certainly very, very good for this Varus Karma lane.
It's about as good as he gets, and unfortunately Lehen's is bearing the brunt of most of that Comet damage. You know, if you go back and watch those exchanges, it's been kind of him who's getting hit every single time, so he's getting chipped down. So you watch this one more time, you could see that at the same time, this is a perfect early rush up here before the scuttle. So right now you feel as Kana like, okay, he's probably scuttling, and meanwhile Volibear is doing the same, so he just skipped scuttle to actually rush this down. And I think that Owner should have been aware of the possibility of this, but by the way, he's not there. And it's a great start here for this matchup. Keen getting a massive early lead, and that first blood gold is pretty huge, because this is really going to limit what Kana could do. It's like the exact reverse of what we saw last game.
Yeah, and Keen is just going to be very, very frustrating on this Zoe. Is Fly going to find the bubble? Yeah, it's a bit sad there for Faker. It was very, very close, but no cigar on the escape in the end. So going to be a little bit later to this lane. Does have teleport, so it's not exactly a huge deal.
It's really hard to pull this one off with the Volibear.
Ooh, hook not going to land, and Lehen's actually takes a fair bit of poke damage as Gumiyoshi layers the arrow through. You can see the Volibear leaves. He's like, all right, I think you guys have got this by yourselves. As there's a rocket jump in. Kana takes half of his health bar.
That's really painful for Kana. Doesn't have teleport either, so has to go back here. I'll lose a lot of time in that lane. And Dread just comes down here, clears this ward, and the tables have turned quite significantly here on the bottom side of the map now. You see Owner heading down defensively, but it's very easy for Dread to just walk away.
Yep, and there's a Volibear here. Only level 5, but does have Predator available. And you can see Dread still just hanging around.
Game of chicken here between these two junglers.
Yeah, but they're trying to poke out the Thresh, and they're doing so very effectively. Level 5 hit by Leo a little bit earlier because, of course, Lehen's was out of the lane for quite some time as Faker was thinking about rotating down. He has the Realm Warp available.
That health bar trade onto Lehen's ends up being pretty massive for T1 because now they can actually look for this Drake group up. So the first time this has been played in the top lane.
Yeah.
So that's actually insane.
Yeah, we've only seen it 4 times in the mid lane as well here in the LCK as Kana about to hit Meganar as he's trying to fight back. Keria moves down. They do manage to get the flash out of Dread very early. The flash forward from Keria was optimistic, to say the least. As you can see, Fly actually trading very well with Faker towards the other side. Up towards the top lane, the Meganar was unable to close in enough on the Tristana to be able to lock down any kills or anything like that. But you can see able to at least find himself a little bit.
Had to flash over the Drake wall there as well, or at least felt he had to. So he just used his flash. You guys didn't see that, but I saw it on the mini-map.
No, he did. He flashed forward to try and get Dread.
Oh, okay, okay. I thought he flashed over the wall there. I was like, wow.
No. Thankfully, he didn't do that. That
okay.
Very
I was like, I happened to notice his flash was down. I didn't realize he did flash forward. You mentioned that earlier, but it just brain farted on it, and I was like, no way, right? Okay.
No, it was a weird flash there too. So to be honest, drawing attention to the flash, I mean, it makes some sense.
Either way, it's gone, right? But I was going to go back to, because I was looking at the Drake pit here, I was going to go back to, I feel like T1 had a really nice opportunity with the advantages they had in the bot side, with all that damage they did to the bot duo, and also the pushing power they had in mid. Look at the ward position there on the Raptor camp. They could have collapsed in on Drake and gotten an early Drake advantage, but they decide not to, because they're looking for a more aggressive play, and that goes back to the Keria flash.
Yeah.
I feel like somewhat of a missed opportunity here, but not the end of the world by any means.
Yeah, potentially. Things going fine for T1, though. I don't think they need to be too worried, as Lehen's not going to really find anything here. The Moonlight Vigil, though, is pretty good as they get the heal out of the T1 bottom lane. Wind becomes lightning, but does not find Keria, and he's just going to emote spam them just a little bit. And I think they deserve a little. There were a couple of whoopsies in that last little exchange.
Yeah, no, it was definitely... you know, not ideal, but that's okay. Now, this Drake is still up right now, and hold that thought. This Keen is going to look to just destroy Kana's health bar again.
Explosive charge, pretty strong as it turns out, as Owner is going to be able to grab himself the Rift Herald.
The scaling argument in this game gets really complex because you have really awesome team fighting for T1 with a really nice front line, and it's really hard for the multiple carries that also scale well for Afrika to actually survive long enough to do the damage. So It's not like one of these two teams is happier to actually go to late game than the other per se, but because neither of these teams are actually going for this early Drake, that Drake advantage is just not a thing in this game, so we are probably headed towards a much longer game than what we saw the last time around. As Owner all the way up here.
Ooh, Faker finds a Q onto Fly. Very, very nice. I actually kind of think that like T1 are pretty happy to coast. I think that Afrika's comp is weird. A lot of it's picked for laning phase, especially this Tristana. I don't know how it necessarily works all together, unless it's just about Fly landing a bubble and then you kill someone, Tristana hops all over the place, and you've got Leo doing a lot of damage. Like, this is one of these comps where, yes, it does have a lot of scaling damage, but where is the scaling anything else? Like,
yeah, exactly. There's no scaling engage tools, right? Like,
yeah,
it gets awkward. Okay, they're gonna collapse on Kana again.
Yeah, gonna look for this one, and now they've brought even more support as Lehens comes down. They're gonna grab a plate. In the meantime, it's a decent hop as all of the buttons get thrown out. There's the flash, rocket jump comes forward, and Keen hasn't drawn enough beads in order to get that extra range, and Ken is going to be able to make it out with just the flash. And but he'll still lose a lot.
He loses a lot, but this continues to be an issue on the bottom side of the map, so this is going to be plates traded for plates here. And because T1 hold the Rift Herald, it's not going to be this entirely of this turret going down insanely quickly and a huge snowball on the top side of the map. Still great for Keen, of course, but this is going to be the Varus argument that we have to keep going back to.
It's a 50 CS.
50 CS. Yeah,
it's
50 CS.
Insanity.
And all these plates that are going to go over right now. And this is going to be a big issue later on because T1 have their two carries, right? They have an AD carry, right, and this, insane mage in the mid lane that's going to do tons of damage later on. But they have protection for them, right? So arguably, having this Varus be extremely fed is more impactful than a Tristana who's kind of splitting the damage with an Aphelios that's not fed and a Zoe that's going to have to do a lot of work in these fights before they begin with the chip damage she's going to have to put off.
Yep. 1,600 gold at 11 minutes is just massive for Gamushi on the bottom side. It is going to be relatively equalized by Keen up towards the top side of the map, though. He's got himself close to a 25 CS lead over Kana, so he's feeling okay too, but not quite the same level as the Varus, as T1 will move over and finally address the dragon situation.
Yeah. Drake going to go down at 11.5 minutes here. Let's see what we get. It's going to be Infernal, so potentially a Mountain Soul, which would be massive for Afrika into this Varus. It's going to be great for both teams, honestly.
Yeah.
If that isn't if that does end up being what we get. If it's
I think
Ocean, it's like, whatever.
I mean, Mountain will be very helpful for Afrika, right? If they manage to get the soul, then it's like a way for them to kind of have a tank, right? Because everyone gets kind of tanky.
Exactly, and especially into the Varus chip damage that they're going to look for.
Yep. If T1 get Ocean Soul, though, I don't know how Afrika wins this game.
That's a scary argument when you have the Gnar and you have this Volibear too. Okay, they're going to look for something here.
Walking on in, Carrier did move over, does have his flash available once again, is now Keen. Gonna have to try and, gets the Buster Shot, kicks him away, is Carrier gonna get flashed on by Dread. Oh no, did he hit the ward that one time? No, it doesn't even matter. It is going to be the kill as Fly flashes forward and picks up the kill on Gumayushi. Why Zoe looking a little bit crisp?
That's what you're looking for with Afrika. Remember in game one, they just did not actually look to be aggressive. They were not able to find anything when the game started to look T1's way with that gold lead. But Afrika now actually making extremely aggressive plays, trying to snowball this game, trying to get these carries extremely fed.
Yeah.
And 2 of the 3, it's working out. That's kind of what I was saying earlier. If one of them goes badly, sometimes you have backup options, right, in terms of your damage output. So yeah, Fly ends up getting a nice extra kill here. Tristana at 1-0-2, already has a Mortal Shield Bow online. So you have a lot to use to compete in this early to mid game now as Afrika. You have a ton of damage online, and T1 have to play this a lot safer than what we've been seeing.
Yeah, Faker like almost getting shoved out as well is dangerous, but Fly, not having flash is definitely not a great thing, but Zoes that actually start doing stuff in the mid game, they're the Zoes that actually work.
Yeah,
right?
you're the ones those are the ones you should be worried about.
Yeah, and Fly being proactive is absolutely what we've wanted to see from this player for a very, very long time. So let's hope that they keep it up. It's 1,000 gold now, the lead for Afrika. It's kind of going to hit some Mega Gnar, but just going to be defending his turret here. And the turret plate's about to fall down as well as we check out this play one more time.
Yeah, this is just really aggressive stuff here from Afrika. And yeah, Carrier does hit the slow, But, you know, this is a really extended exchange, and guess who shows up? It's Fly. And Dread actually makes all of this happen because he has a fantastic knockup, does use his ultimate here, and then Fly threads the needle, gets the ignite off, boom.
Yeah.
It's a 2-kill here. You can see the coach is extremely happy with this performance.
Yeah, having a look at Spirit. Bit of a grin underneath that mask, I believe.
You have to imagine. Especially after game one, which did go very poorly.
Yeah, and it's also Spirit. He's just perpetually grinning most of the time. So that's certainly good news as well. So, Afrika, let's see what they can actually do with this lead. As Faker's getting collapsed on a little bit. Dread moves on up.
He has his flash and he has Realm Warp, so he's got a lot of escape potential here, unless he gets slept, of course.
Yep, and they also spotted Ona moving up on that ward as well, as Hook is barely going to miss.
I mean, this is the most Afrika proactivity we've seen in a while, right? Like, they're really good at early game, but they are really pushing the envelope in this game to find every little advantage they can get.
It's really good because that's what they need to do, right?
And that's what this draft is
using this.
Yeah, exactly. That's what this Tristana pick that got pushed into the top lane is for, is controlling this Gnar, weakening him significantly, as we're going to look for this.
Yeah, Keen going to get smacked against the wall, but he's not too worried about it. He's got a shield bow now, so going to use that lifesteal, getting himself all the way back up to happy health values. His owner's going to dive on around, and yeah, he's going to run on in there. There's the rocket jump. Flash comes out as Owner. It's going to take a little bit of damage there from the charge, but that is the Flash now down on the Tristana. It's good news.
I was pretty surprised to see how few times Owner has been interested in coming up and punishing this really aggressively positioned Keen, right, in the top side of the map. Now that Soul Lane's gone the other side, he's looked for just one opportunity here. Unfortunately, he's not able to stick the landing on it. Keen does get away. And this is just really frustrating because his Volibear pick is being outdone by a Xin Zhao, which is not, you know, out of the question. This happens a lot. But he's obviously going to fall behind in farm. If Afrika starts getting more control of this map, then the Volibear really starts to fall off and doesn't end up being as amazing of a front line as you really want him to be, so that the Rise, so that the Varus can be your carries later on. He does now have his Divine Sunder at least.
Yep, there's that. He's going to make his way back as the, okay, Chains of Corruption do connect. Gumayushi's going to be tagged by the W. Dread taking a fair bit of damage there is dangerous because the dragon has just spawned. Gumayushi and Leo just fighting for space here in this mid lane. And now it might just be the fight around the Drake. Let's see what everyone decides that they want to do. It looks like T1 wanting to grab some control around this top side. As you can see, Fly respecting it a lot. He's going to be backing away, and it should be just this Drake going over to Afrika.
Yeah. Going to be a Drake for what Faker and Owner are trying to set up to be is a turret, but it's bottom turret that goes down at the same time. And this is really just Afrika playing T1's game from game one in a lot of ways, but they're getting more out of the map than just turrets, right? They're getting these Drakes now. It is going to be the Ocean Soul, which is really important for T1 to secure. But like this Tristana pick is so oppressive.
Yeah.
Insta drop on this Rift Herald here, and that's going to be another turret. And Kana actually might have to get out of here too.
And they have very little that charge. Not going to be able to taxi the Rift Herald any further, so should be surely falling to the Mega Gnar. There's Dread behind the wall. Pull out the Wolves. I believe they spot that ward, but Carrier, is he out of position far enough? He doesn't. He does have Flash. As Gumayushi is going to be able to find the ulti there onto Lehen's under the turret, but Afrika don't seem too worried about it. They just take down the turret. They're going to move on with their business. 4 turrets to 2 now. This is what we were praising T1 for in the last game. It was being able to get around the map, take down turrets, and they have a Tristana. I mean, she's a turret destruction unit. That's what she's there for.
I mean, Tristana can destroy turrets very quickly. Aphelios can destroy turrets very quickly, so you have so much ability to just remove these structures from the map, grab that extra gold, and then carry yourself towards the mid game with all these big power spikes coming through for your carries. Like, we have all the mythics online now for Afrika, but what happens in the next front-to-back 5v5 team fight is what is the most interesting and exciting part, right? Because we haven't seen that yet. We haven't actually seen Afrika try to fight this with 3 carries into a really strong engaged front line that Afrika will face, that T1 are going to bring to these fights. And because Afrika have kind of avoided that so far, You know, we just don't know yet how T1 is going to perform in these upcoming fights, but I think Afrika has the gold, and they've shown that Fly has the potential. He's playing very well this game on the Zoe to absolutely carry. I mean, it's a little bit worrying here for T1. Unfortunately, just haven't been able to stabilize here in the mid game. Yeah,
I'm just really hoping that Afrika can actually keep their feet on the pedal, as Canna's going to take a lot of damage there from Fly. Not going to take that clock tower to the face. Just be fine. I want to see more from Afrika, right? We've seen that one play from Fly. It was a spark of brilliance. I want to see more of it. I want to see them be able to force fights and actually wield their gold or pressure side lanes effectively and use the inaction to their advantage instead of just letting T1 get back into the game.
And they are kind of 1-3-1ing this pretty well right now. They have the Tristana pushing the top side. She was pushing bottom until she got that turret. Now she's looking for a lot more impact here on the top side of the map. There is no vision here for Afrika, so they're going to kind of go up as a bit of a safeguard for Keen right now, set up a lot of this vision here so that T1 cannot go punish the Tristana, so she can just look for this turret. And it's really nice aggressive play from Afrika. Now you can look for potentially a pick if they make a mistake trying to push through this jungle. This is so beautiful.
Ona's moving in, but the rest of T1 are in the area. His
free
arrow
turret
does connect, and that is indeed a free turret. Keen going to be able to get easily enough work done there. Fly had teleport available, so they were ready for a 5v5, and that is going to be another injection of gold. 3,000 now the lead for Afrika.
And he gets the Wit's End online for Keen. Keen's got that, so he's got a lot more survivability now against this Rise. He did end up getting the steel caps first. 3,000 gold is all his. That is pretty insane.
That is ludicrous.
Like, but this is a really weird counter pick that they picked because a lot of the other options were removed, right? The Jace, the Gangplank. And he gets insane prio. He's got great turret destruction, like better than we saw Kana do even last game with his demolition.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, Tristana's whole
She's
thing,
made for turret destruction.
Indeed, indeed. Very, very good at it. But Keen has been playing very, very well to that win condition as well, so you do need to praise him for that.
And Afrika, you know, made sure that he was safe to push that down. They grouped up, they put wards in that top side of the jungle on red side there, so T1 couldn't collapse in and punish. And it was a team effort to guarantee a turret. Then they just reset, and yes, T1 is kind of picking up the pieces and cleaning up here. 1 minute to go until this first Ocean Soul spawns. And it's not a must-win objective for either side, but I think as T1, you're starting to really feel the pressure here. Okay, do they actually use this Blast Plant to commit? Keen is just a little bit ahead of the curve.
Yeah, kind of gets in there just a little bit too late. And Zuna moves on over. T1 just ping-ponging some waves, just a little. But I think if they can find a fight where they're able to actually set up effectively and Guma can land a few of these piercing arrows and really get things started, and then, of course, Kana comes in with a decent Nabar, and then everything's good. Looks like Afrika, they've decided that they want to start fighting this one as Dread. He's going to get snared. Ulti comes through, and Ona just flashes on top of him. Hook connects onto the volley there as Dread's going to flash away. The box does come down. Realm Warp going to be aborted here by Faker.
And they are in a kind of an awkward spot, T1 are, because they can't actually get to the Drake easily now.
Well, maybe they just don't care about it, as that's a huge Gnar into the wall. That is the jungler, and T1, they might just say it's time for Baron.
That's a Baron opportunity right there. Hey, you can't get to the Drake, but if Dread's going to stand there and you have vision, that's been the biggest issue for Afrika in this moment, is just no vision.
Whoa, that paddle star damage was insane! All right, Fly. He's definitely had his wee picks this morning. As Kana taking a lot of damage here from the Baron, as the rest of T1, they're going to disengage.
Without all those health bars going low, and it only being 22 minutes into the game, they don't have an insane Baron clear. They just back off, but this means Afrika can rotate down now and have that extra prio on the Drake. They have full vision here, so they know no one on T1 is trying to sneak this away, or they're trying to collapse back in. Not going to be the case. They know they're just backing and resetting. So yes, Faker will get a little bit of side laning done there on the top side of the map, but this is 100% worth it. As this is a really good poke. Look at the lack of vision here for Afrika. You can just see it. They don't have any wards. They're fighting into the brush. There's one ward on the other side there where you see the Varus standing. But there's just so much damage done before this fight begins that Kana now has this opportunity. He sees Dread. He's like, I'm going in. He just instantly goes over the wall and can get out, no problem. Flash out, and then they're going to start the Baron. I don't know if we'll get a replay of Fly's insane damage.
Yeah, that was the paddle star was just so good. Really did save Afrika there, because otherwise T1 should have been able to either get a turn and get a couple of extra kills, or just get themselves that free Baron. But now Afrika continue to have that decent gold advantage, 2.5K, something like that. And the Trist is getting more and more dangerous. It is going to be the Rage Blade that comes through as item number 3 after the Wit's End. A lot of tankiness, a lot of damage.
Yeah. I mean, Afrika are going to take a lot of this vision away. This is going to look very different than the last exchange. And they have a comp that can do Baron very quickly.
Yes.
And now that they're grouped up, they are just going to be happy to clear this ward and start it, I think. And T1 are going to have to respond. They know Kana's on the bottom side of the map. He has a teleport, but there's not really any great wards for him to teleport to. So this is actually going to get pretty tense. Afrika need to be the ones that are ready to pull the trigger. Remember, last time they had a few opportunities like this, they didn't actually do it. And in this case, they clear the vision to make it look like they're doing the Baron, but they don't actually start it. They're giving T1 so much time to react. And Kana's like, yeah, I do have a teleport, so I will be very happy to get extra minions here on the side while you guys decide what you're going to do. Now they start the Baron.
Yeah, there is a lot of damage, like you mentioned. Leo's not here, though, so they don't have the Aphelios to try and help, and his weapons aren't exactly the greatest for taking down the Baron, but it's down to 5k anyway, as Faker's going to Realm Warp his way in. That's the hook that's going to connect onto Keria, who immediately explodes. Keen gets himself his first reset as Gumayushi in a bit of trouble. Keen just gets himself back when things get a little bit too worrying. Buster shot to get rid of the Megana. Keen honestly just won that by himself, and that was so sick.
I mean, Keen is winning this game by himself in every regard. He's 2-0-2, but he's got his 3 items. Gets the explosive damage done there to blow up just one single target. Once Keria's out, it's a 5v4.
All right, and now he's teleport flanking on the Tristana.
Here we go.
This is kind of cool. They get themselves some vision. Kana taking a bit of damage here as the rocket jump effectively. Offensively, sorry, as Faker's just dead. Leo's going to be able to lock down that kill. Another great hook to come through from Lehens.
And it is falling apart here for T1. They are just not able to get any control over these team fights because there's so much burst damage from all 3 of these players. Well, really just Fly and Keen, to be honest. Leo hasn't been able to do all that much just yet, but he can lock players down, and we have seen that. But it's really just the burst damage that's the biggest problem here.
All right, Ona, now's your opportunity. He does have the ult. He can get himself into this pit as Dread's going down very, very low. Kana, decent Naba, but he is able to get that little fadeaway jump shot, like it, with the boomerang. And Afrika deem it too dangerous to go for the Baron. So once again, we have a bit of a stalemate.
Yeah. They just need to make sure that they don't let T1 get away with taking this too quickly. They're going to keep some vision over here. Fly's going to stay. T1 are going to try to race this down, but there is vision. So Afrika know about this, but can they get back in time? That's the question.
Yeah, they're going to try and burst this one down. We're playing tag with the Baron right here as it's down to 6k. Fly moves on in there. Let's see whether he can actually kill anyone. Looks like the answer is going to be no, as T1 will be able to get the Baron. Now can they escape? And the answer is absolutely yes, they can. As the ult comes out from Ona, he's going to play it safe, and they get everyone out, but they grab themselves the Baron. They just outplay Afrika. Like, yeah. It's just not even, they don't have to win a team fight. No. It's just Afrika decide that they're going to go home.
Exactly.
And they're like, whoops.
And they go home, and the clear time for T1 is also decent here on the Baron. It's not as good as Afrika's, obviously, but it's still pretty quick, and they have a positional advantage. So for the first time ever, it's kind of awkward for Afrika to try to rush in. Only Fly is there to try to chip away and do damage, and had he stayed, it would have been pretty amazing. Now, Anathema's actually picked up here for Owner. That's pretty cool to see at this stage of the game.
I wonder who that's going to be put on.
Well, I'm sure we'll click on Keen to confirm at some point here in the near future.
I have a feeling that it's probably going to be Keen, but maybe it's Fly, and you can then just build more armor or something like that. That's why Anathemas is kind of cool. If they only have one doing the magic damage, then you can just build armor and Anathemas, and then everything's okay.
Now, T1 have so much that they could do with this Baron play now. There's so much gold on the map for them. Baker gets bottom turret, or rather top turret, easily there. A ton of extra gold goes over to him. They get the mid turret. Because they were significantly behind on turrets, there's a lot of gold kind of sitting on the map for T1 right now that they can pick up. And it gives them the extra prio here to look for the Drake fight. Now, Faker does not have teleport. So getting into this Drake fight and actually having prio here isn't going to last for T1. He's going to have to walk in slowly.
I mean, he does have Realm Warp, so of course he can get there, but it's whether or not that is going to be enough. But he's just going to rotate over, sitting in this brush right now. Control ward there for Afrika. And Afrika need to make sure that they have a playground for Fly to play in, right? He needs to be able to line up these bubbles and get things working, as he does land a great Battlestar onto Ona. Definitely a priority target, but he's going to eat some honey fruit. It's going to be absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Move back down.
They're going to start this. Keen has the ability to blow up so many players for T1. Just
Afrika are like, we've seen this one before. We know what to do.
Yeah.
We'll move up the mid lane.
And it's an exposed inhibitor turret here, but there's no minion wave, so they're losing a lot of time. T1 actually have the opportunity to back here, and unfortunately this does not go the way Afrika planned. So
Afrika's like, but it worked so well for you guys. Why did it work for you guys?
A little bit different of a scenario here. Even with the Tristana pick, you just need a minion wave to actually make this happen, and with the Baron buff, they just weren't able to secure that.
No, it didn't quite work, as now T1 are rushing towards Leo. There's the Realm Warp, as the bubble is just going to be there in the middle of the lane. And T1 are going to just show Afrika what it's about. This is how you do it. You take a Baron buff, that's very important, and then you just take down the turret. So T1 are going to well and truly win out on that exchange.
Yeah, T1 had, I mean, the Baron buff is just so much value here for T1 because it's just guaranteeing them extra wave prio. They got the top inner turret, so they are kind of cool with just focusing on mid right now. They're easily able to set up for the defense there. And like you mentioned, the scariest idea here for T1 is if they end up getting this Ocean Soul. Now, there's still 2 away from that, but every single one of these is going to matter, especially with their comp really starting to explode later on into the game, because the next step here for Faker is going to be a death cap. If we do go like all the way later on to this game, he's been given so much gold. 50 CS up on Fly, and that extra inhibitor, or rather inner turret gold that he got too, means he's getting closer and closer, right, to that big late game spike. And then it's no longer going to be the case that, unfortunately for Keen, that he could just blow everybody up, especially with Anathemas now online.
Yeah, no, I agree. This is going to be really difficult, as we're still hovering over the Baron, so I wanted to see.
Yeah, I'm like, click on him, please.
Yeah, I want to know whether it's Keen or whether it's Fly.
We got to get that in the UI right. Come on.
All right, well, we got a few backs coming through here. And Faker, he's the highest level in the game alongside Kana, both of them very, very similar. Gumayushi just clearing out minion waves wherever he can find them. As now, with no Baron, we're just waiting for the next thing to spawn. It will be the next Baron, so the next port of call, as we're running out of turrets on the map for any team to take.
Yeah.
Afrika they've taken all of the inners. T1 still have 1 left. They're on the bottom side of the map, but this game is well and truly slowed down.
It really has, and I think that's really favoring T1's ability to get back into this game because they're now starting to take objectives of their own. And this game's variance level, I think, kind of ironically goes down a little bit here for T1. Like, their composition can now look for 5v5 fights, and Afrika can't just blow up single targets, look for better macro control, because they've lost a lot of that vision control they had through the mid game now.
Yeah.
So T1 are a lot safer, and they're not actually worrying about meeting imminent demise from just a big play from Keen, a big play from Fly. It's a lot harder to pull that off now. Well, it's still possible, though.
Yeah, they're still fishing for it, looking for opportunities. I mean, I feel like the non-committal CC and things like this out of T1 just make it so much more comfortable. You know, you throw out a Chains of Corruption. If you manage to hit one of the priority targets, then the game becomes so hard. Like, Afrika do need to be very, very clean with their execution, so you can't really blame them for not being able to accelerate it enough because T1 haven't been making those mistakes. As Kana going to get the rotation over. The Nabar is absolutely perfect right now as Dread has to use the Crescent Guard, but I don't think it's going to be enough. He has to flash to get himself out of there. As Leo with the short-range weapons, but not able to actually get too much. So it's just the flash out of the jungler.
Let's see if T1 can actually collapse down and punish Keen. It doesn't look like that's going to be their plan. They just want to get over here, make sure they have guaranteed vision control on this Drake. The fact that the jungler has to return home means that it's really easy for T1 to gain control of this objective for the moment. They're not going to start it just yet, though. And look at the Lantern being used to get Dread back into position. Afrika are actually, because of T1's reset timing here, and the lanes they're now going to clear, get Prio on this Baron.
Yeah, look at all of the vision for T1 on the bottom side of the map, though. My goodness, 52 seconds until that Ocean Drake has spawned, and there is just vision everywhere for T1. Great bubble is going to connect onto Ona. He might get picked off. No, the ultimate is going to be invested.
That's a huge tool gone for Owner, who doesn't have his flash. And I think Afrika realistically could start this Baron because they can clear this so damn quick right now. A T1 have to be here. They have to respond quickly. Ooh, and they're just going to start it solo for Keen. Look how fast it goes down even with just him. And wait till the rest of them come in there.
Well, Kana does have that hop available. He can get over that wall. They do spot out that Afrika are doing the Baron. as Fly getting himself out of the way. That was a fake flash as the Baron's down extraordinarily low. Owner is inside the pit. He goes into stasis. He can't smite there, but he is able to smite immediately after getting out as Kana gets the Mega Gnar at exactly the right time. The Chakrams were doing so much work. They sacrificed the bear, but T1 gets their second Baron.
Highway robbery here for T1, and now they're going to go and rush down this Ocean Drake or Ocean Soul point.
That's ridiculous. They were robbing one bank, and they teleported to the next bank and stole that one as well.
It's not fair. And now Afrika are in really, really dire straits because this next objective is so desperate for them, and they're going to have to play on the back foot here. They're going to have to play so defensively for the next 2.5 minutes here. And I mean, I think Afrika actually won't. It's not going to be good enough here to just defend. They're going to have to look for a pick. They're going to have to look for really proactive play, and then maybe get a kill or two, and then try to end the game as the Baron kind of fades away. Because if you just sit back and let T1 take complete control over the map, I'm going to be very happy to do so. Yeah. This is a game where Faker is still 0-1-0.
He's 0-1-0 with 350 CS. Like,
it's insane.
Yeah, it's nuts. As Owner goes in, and remember, you can't smite when you're in stasis. And so as soon as he's out of stasis, 24 health, and he gets this smite.
Yeah, Dread just missed it.
Yeah.
That's really unfortunate there, because that's going to be so huge. Like, if Afrika gets Baron, they might be able to get multiple inhibitors here as we watch this happen in real time.
Back.
He's like, I got it, get out.
Get
out, leave. He's like, I'm begging you, get the hell out of there. We got the objective.
And he's almost towards his Zhonya's Hourglass as well, so he's going to be able to do that again. Absolutely fantastic news. Love Zhonya's on the volley bear. Yeah, T1, now they're going to begin their suffocation once again. We've still got 1:20 on the Baron. Yeah. And remember, they have Soul Point as well, so 3.5 minutes on the clock until that Ocean Soul is going to be up.
There's just not much that, unfortunately, Keen can do to kind of carry in the side lane. If he pushes all the way, then he'll get punished eventually, and he's just never going to win the race anyways alone versus T1 grouped up with Baron 4-1 right now. He's going for this long wraparound onto Faker. Flies here. Can they grab him?
They find a lot of damage there as Keen. He can rocket jump over.
He's going for it.
Do so, absolutely, and boom goes Faker. Immediately, the rest of T1 are going to back away, and that is so much time and space bought by Afrika.
That's massive. Faker just getting caught here by, two players. See, he's caught, he's out by himself, right? It's a 4-1. They punish the 1. And this is amazing for Afrika because now a lot of the damage is gone for T1. A lot of the pushing power is gone. This Baron is now no longer really threatening anything. There's just nothing Faker can do as soon as Fly connects with that damage.
Extremely dead.
He has now his death cap completed, so when he does respawn, he is going to be ready to do the big damage. But still, 25 seconds away from that time here is the Baron buff is gone. 2.5 minutes next to the next objective that Afrika must take.
Yeah, and now it feels like that momentum has swung back. It's like 300 gold in this game, right?
Yeah.
And so this fight around the next Drake is going to be huge. And if Afrika wins, then both teams have Soul Point. We're here for another 5 minutes, Wolf. That's how this one's going to go.
And because T1 have such great clear, like there's just no way that as Afrika, even in that weird, small, tiny interim where Faker is dead, that you can push anything because all the waves were pushed from the Baron earlier, and even if you could push this, like it just gets cleared so quickly it doesn't matter.
Yep.
So we're going to have this kind of awkward lull state for 2 minutes, and I don't think either team is going to be bold enough to say, I'm gonna throw this whole game on a potential pick, because if you mess it up, you end up losing it. So we're gonna have this kind of wave clear farming simulator moment for about the next 1:40 seconds. And I think if there's one team that could potentially look for a pick, it would be Afrika if they could set it up with Fly. But if he messes it up right, the risk is so high that you are gonna see kind of passive play here with some occasional trouble bubbles tossed out.
Well, Keen has 6 items. This Tristana is absolutely gigantic. It's the hugest Yordle you have ever seen. It's 7-1 in kills, Wolf, and it just doesn't feel like a game that's 7-1.
No, it does not.
T1 are ahead in gold. They're ahead in Drakes. Like, I don't know. This is an odd experience that we're having right now.
It's great though because it's a really interesting style of gameplay, right? 3 carries versus 2, right? And Faker has all of the money. He has all the items too.
He's
just as
2 CS away from a Flame Horizon over Fly.
And if he catches anybody, I mean, even Dread, if Dread ends up getting rooted, then he dies basically instantly.
Yep.
So you have to be so careful.
As Dread, taking a fair bit of damage there as Kana very close to the Mega Gnar, looking for his opportunity. He's going to get ulted out there by Dread, but now that's a big cooldown that is now missing. All of that follow-up damage, though, is so dangerous, and Fly getting in there. These paddle stars are so important. As the Moonlight Vigil comes down, Ona takes so much damage, eats more honey fruit.
He's going to heal
honey fruit.
Afrika.
Yeah, they're looking for their opportunity. They think that now with the Volley Bear out of position, this is their opportunity, but Shirelia's is really, really good. Inspire, really, really good.
Yeah, it's crazy how much mobility they have and so much, shielding they have to sustain through a lot of the poke that T1's looking for.
Keen trying to blow up Gumayusi. The flash out, that is going to keep him alive for now. That may have actually just extended the game. That would have been a huge pick, especially with 34 seconds left on this Baron. Hook just barely missing the edge of the dress of Karma right there.
It's really hard for Kana to actually get his Narbar online right now. There's nothing for him to hit. Like, the jungle is cleared out. He doesn't have a minion wave, so he's just going to be stuck in Mininar for a
Oh no,
time.
Speaking of being stuck, Faker has to flash to get away from the bubble.
That was massive. Now they can start the Baron. 14 seconds here. Faker has to retreat.
Ona
That's
has
be a
his
huge
Zhonya's.
window.
We could see it again. Very, very scary.
I don't think lightning strikes twice in this game, though. You're betting your hopes on hitting that one a second time. I don't know if it's going to work out for you, but there's always hope. Here's the teleport.
Yeah, Faker back into the mid lane. You've got Dread waiting on the flank. They want to start off this Baron. It feels like Afrika really have held back onto this game as Leo takes a lot of damage. This poke, if it lands, it sticks onto Afrika, right? It is...
Oh, look at that poke.
Yeah, okay, Paddle Stars, can they actually connect as Leo's got the long-range weapons?
They have so many wards. Look at all of Afrika's control wards all around that Drake pit and also leading to the Baron pit. They have so much more of a vision advantage here, so it's so hard for T1 to actually walk into this. You're putting yourself at risk of getting hit by these Paddle Stars, getting hit by the sleeps.
We have to remember as well that Afrika was able to push T1 back and get themselves the Drake. We didn't actually see it on the screen, but it of course did happen just by good zoning from Afrika.
Yeah, prio and vision control that they've had this entire time, and they could just rush this Baron down so quickly. They're going in.
Yep, let's see whether T1 can actually get themselves into position in time. It looks like the answer is going to be no. I don't know whether they're going to be able to get there as the Realm Warp is going to be ignored. The box goes down as in goes Ona. He wants to steal it, but he's not going to be able to. Going to flash to get himself out. So no harm, no foul, I guess. Go for a potential 50-50. That's exactly what it was, but unable to actually get it done that time.
Now, you can see all the pings coming down here for T1. They're trying to push the bottom lane in and look for that inhibitor. They can try to 4-1 one more time here to at least buy a lot of that Baron buff away, burn down that clock, run it down, but it's just so greedy, it's so risky to do so. If you split off, like we saw last time, Faker got picked on his own, and that could very well happen again if he is caught by himself. It's just going to take away some of this gold right now, get this push set up. If they can push the minion wave here on the bottom side of the map, that at least relieves a little bit of the pressure during this Baron buff.
When was the last kill?
It's been a while.
It feels like it was yesterday, you know, like a really, really long time ago. We've been sitting on 7-1 forever.
I feel like we're just holding our breath this whole game too. Like it's anyone's game to take, absolutely. But I think Afrika are really starting to pull away with this Baron buff. They have so much map control. They can really try to threaten an inhibitor right now. They have way more time than last time. Remember last time most of that Baron buff, was where most of the advantage they had from the Baron fight was wasted. Okay.
Now they need to try and siege in onto this turret. That's where things get a little bit more difficult, right? Keen's level 18, so of course he does a lot of long-range damage as Chains of Corruption connecting onto Dread, but he takes a lantern to get himself to safety. A lot of poke damage raining on through here as now Ona's thinking about his opportunity, whether or not he has it. The hook is going to deter him for the moment as the Moonlight Vigil comes down, but doesn't do a whole lot of work.
Kana's not going to get anything out of this Gnar. That's really unfortunate. Once again, he's just going to be struggling to have this insane engage tool at the right moment because he's just so stuck under this turret. So defensively.
Yeah, he's going to have to keep throwing these boomerangs through as Leo's taking a fair bit of damage there. Has Severum, of course, is okay. The ulti out from Ona is now. Faker's trying to trade it with Keen. He does have the GA, remember, but Faker doesn't, and he's just going to explode. Kana going to follow suit. The damage from Afrika is just gigantic with the poke. Is starting to rain down. Goodbye, Fly. He just immediately evaporates. Kana now has that Mega Gnar almost back available, but he doesn't have a Volley Bear.
He doesn't have a team.
Yeah, Afrika doesn't. They don't need a team. They just need Keen, right? Can they actually get some minions to get underneath this turret, though? Because,
the answer is yes.
Oh my goodness, this is so dangerous. Gumayusi, he needs to land poke, but I just don't know whether they can stop Keen from tearing these turrets apart. The autos are so scary. Flashes forward to Varus, explodes. Kana's dead as well. And Wolf, we are going to game number 3. 43 minutes in. And Afrika wins the game.
What a beautiful back and forth game and an extremely unique draft. from the Afrika Freaks, the reliance on these carries to pop off. They had 3 opportunities right with the